Hey everyone, welcome to week 2. Bills coming in 1-0 off a huge win against the Jets. A road win, a division win, a conference win, a comeback win. Just an overall great day, a great win for the team and the fans of the team alike. I know everyone watching this video, I'm sure, was feeling great afterwards. Nothing really quite like being 1-0, winning on opening day, especially on the road, especially against a division opponent who, I thought was, kind of similar in likeness to the Bills in terms of like their image, so to speak. But as I was watching the game, it was like listening to Rich Gannon and them, and Kevin Harlan just like drool over Le'Veon Bell. And granted, he made some nice plays there. Like, the touchdown was nice. The two-point conversion was even more nice. But, that was it. They're like, his first game in 600 days, Le'Veon Bell. I'm like, miss me with that, dude. Like, the guy had 23 touches or something like that for 93 yards or 92 yards, which is okay. And he scored and had a two-point conversion, and he was nice for them. But, they lost. It was almost like they were completely, anyone, paying attention to the game, except maybe Bills fans, were, not paying attention to the fact that the Bills were better than the Jets for the majority of the game. The Bills had just kept shooting themselves in the foot throughout the entirety of it. And I know that you Bills fans, you're there with me, I'm sure. You saw it. The Bills had 370 total yards in 28 minutes time of possession. The Jets had 223. It's a difference of 147 yards. And they had the ball for 32 minutes, 4 minutes longer than the Bills did. The Bills had 128 rushing yards to the Jets' 68. The Bills didn't run the ball or didn't hand it to one of their running backs at least, for the first 18 or 19 plays. They come out just hurling the ball left and right. They go 44 yards down the field before the sack fumble to Allen, which is the only sack they allowed all day. And granted, that's a tough mistake. And it took points off the board, but Allen goes down the field, 5 of 5 for 44 yards. He's completing it to Beasley a couple times. He's completing it to John Brown, who ends up with the most yards ever in a Bills debut, 7 for 123 and a touchdown. Love that guy, and just looking like such a good pickup. Beasley, I think, got held catchless in the second half, but the Bills came out and demonstrated right away that. Number one, that Allen is capable of making these throws. That's on Allen, I suppose. But I guess what the Bills demonstrated is that they're not afraid of Josh Allen, and that is the best news of all time. Whether he's good or not, and he doesn't at least seem to be terrible, he made a couple decisions that were not good. The pick that got called back by a penalty was just, what are you doing? He made a couple bad throws, I thought. I can't think of too many. The one to Knox, he had Knox on a crossing pattern. He just did a 5-yard play or something, but he badly overthrew him for 5 yards, and almost cost him the game later on. I think they ended up kicking a field goal off of it. He threw basically an interception to Marcus May in the right corner of the end zone that he jumped onto, and he dropped it, and May dropped it. But that's not his fault. It's not like the Jets didn't get enough breaks throughout the first half of the game. Cole Beasley gets hit in the hands, and instead of dropping it, what happens 99% of the time? Somebody drops the ball. It just hits the ground. But no, Cole Beasley pops it up for whatever reason, right to C.J. Mosley, see a touchdown. And even then, it's demoralizing, but just because of the fumble that happened previously, and it's here comes this comedy of errors here. Don't be this again. The Bills turned the ball over multiple times, I think in 10 games last year, and I'm pretty sure they were 0-10. I think they showed that stat on CBS. When they turned it over less than 2 times, they were 6-0, and 2 times or more, they were 0-10. I don't have the actual numbers on that, but I believe that was the stat. And, and then they weren't done there. The tip pass from Allen, he should be aware of that. The guy's kind of a free rusher. And he throws it right into his hands, and it gets picked off as they're driving. The Bills were doing pretty good up until that point. Up until all of these points, really. 4 turnovers in the first half. But they had 32 yards. They actually had 44 yards in the first drive before the sack was 12 yards in the fumble. They went 40 yards before they had to punt. Allen got them into field goal position, and Feliciano takes that stupid penalty that backs them up 15 yards, and they have to punt. They do go 3 and out once after that. I think it was on the first down. Allen threw that interception, got called back by a penalty, and the Bills got another first down. Maybe that doesn't count. Does that even count as a 3 and out because they technically got a first down with defensive holding? But they went 3 and out after that. Then they suffered the other fumble, the missed snap, and it's just after all that, they're -4 in the first half. They should, to me, they're -4 in the game. They get credit with a fumble recovery on the lateral play at the end, but to me, they're -4 in the game, and they win. And they're -4 in the first half. They're only down 6. Thanks large in part to the Jets kicker who can't kick. That guy missed a kick for the Vikings in Buffalo against the Bills just last week in the preseason. And then the Jets pick him up, and he misses another field goal, almost the exact same way, and the extra point. There's the whole if the Jets had a kicker, maybe they win. You know what? Yeah. And if the Jets hit Robbie Anderson on a deep pass, maybe if Darnold hits Robbie Anderson on a deep pass, maybe they win. He overshot him once, and Levi Wallace made a nice play getting back. The second or the first, I think that was the first time. Then he missed him after that. And if Marcus May holds out an interception, maybe they win. I don't know. If Josh Allen doesn't get sacked, and fumbles, maybe they win. If he doesn't fumble the snap, maybe they win. If Cole Beasley doesn't drop the pass, maybe they win. That's just football. Everyone says oh, it's a bunch of plays, and it really only boils down to 8. And maybe that's true in this case. But the bottom line is the Bills got the ball in the fourth quarter, down 13 points. I think the Bills started that drive maybe on right at the start of the fourth quarter, down 16-3. And they essentially need 2 touchdowns. I mean, the field goal thing isn't really they're probably not going to get there on field goals. And they get 2 80-plus yard drives from Josh Allen, capped off with him running it into the end zone and then him finding John Brown for a touchdown. And it was just beautiful. You get the ball twice. You need 2 touchdowns. You get them from your young quarterback. And that's what I mean. That's like I said, the Bills weren't afraid of Josh Allen. They let him come out, and they threw the ball on 18 consecutive plays, or 18 out of 19 plays, and the only other one he dropped back on, he ran with it. So, they were that was the plan. Let Josh Allen be Josh Allen. And the same can't really be said for the Jets. And now the Jets are they're falling apart, and I empathize with that a little bit. Because we were there last year as Bills fans. I empathize with the fans, not really so much with the team. Because the Bills were there. They were there last year. We had the Peterman game, and then Allen comes out in week 2, and we get killed, and it's 0-2, and the Super Bowl ends in February. The Patriots win. That sucks if you're a Bills fan or a Jets fan. And then you look forward to this all year. The Jets, they get Le'Veon Bell, they get Quinnen Williams. They think their quarterback's going to be better. Jamison Crowder, nice player. In 2 weeks, in 5 days, it's not fun. Because now these things are coming out. Darnold has mono, and the Jets, they play the Browns, and they play the Patriots, and they have a bye, and he might be back after that, but they have, they're at Philly, they have Dallas, they have New England again. They could be 0-6. And if you're the Jets, you already, going into Week 17, because you play the Bills, have to be 2 games better than the Bills going into that. You have to be +2, and you're already -1. So over the next 14 games, you have to be 3 games better than the Bills. Otherwise, because if you go into Week 17 just 1 game ahead of the Bills win, and they sweep you, so they go ahead of you in the division. So they have a lot of work to do, and it doesn't really look good for them, and Adam Gase looks like he is almost regretting taking that job already. He is frustrated, clearly. So bring on the Giants. Bring them on. The Bills are staring at a real shot at 2-0. They are favored on the road in the same stadium against the Giants. The Giants lost 35-17 to the Cowboys last week. And you know what? I got to give it to the Giants. I didn't think they were really that bad, to be totally honest with you. They ended up with 470 yards. They allowed 494, and that's obviously their problem. But Eli Manning threw for 300 yards. Took him 44 attempts to get there. Saquon Barkley only had 15 touches and 11 carries for whatever reason. but he had 139 total yards. They were up, 7-0 early on. They had an 89-yard touchdown drive or something right off the get-go. And they didn't go 3 and out at all. They had they went 89, 40, 22, 31, 75, 64, 31, 22, 75, 22. Like, the last one is Daniel Jones coming into the game and fumbling. But, like, they got first downs. They moved the ball on Dallas, but they just weren't finishing with points and whatnot. So, they come in, the Giants do, obviously 0-1. They lose. They don't have Golden Tate. They look like they might not have Sterling Shepard. He's in concussion protocol. So they're trotting out Cody Latimer, Betty Fowler, Russell Shepard maybe as their receivers to go with Barkley and Ingram, who are their 2 really nice position players. Barkley might be the best position player that the Bills see all season. I mean, I know they have to see Zeke, I guess, but like Barkley's better than Zeke. I don't know, I think. Not that Zeke's a bad player. Cowboy fan catches this and is like, knocking at my door, knocking in the comments. Whatever, fine, let's talk about it. I think Barkley's better than Zeke. So, if you're the Bills, you just allowed, only 223 yards to the Jets. Jamison Crowder, I can't believe I forgot to bring this up. First guy in NFL history to have 14 catches in less than 100 yards. And one of his catches went for 19, so he had 13 for 80. You take away his longest, which I know that is, whatever. He had averages 6 yards a catch, and I think he got credited with about 67 yards after the catch. So that means he had 32 yards once he caught the ball on 14 catches. So he averaged his depth of target, correct me if I'm wrong, is 2 yards, just over 2, a shade over 2. Wow. Great job by the Bills defense. And I think they have a good chance of doing it again. Eli Manning is always bound to do something hysterically bad. I mean, he can throw for 300 yards on you, but he's bound to do something hysterically bad. He has a couple nice targets in Barkley and Ingram. His receiver's not that great. We've talked about that. We just mentioned that. Offensively, I think the Bills have an advantage. The Giant defense had no sacks last week. I think they only got credited with 2 quarterback hits. They gave up a touchdown on 5 straight possessions against the Cowboys. Guys are just running free constantly. Gallup went for like 150 receiving yards. Cooper went over 100. Randall Cobb, way past his prime, had 69 yards and a long touchdown where he just runs down the seam and is just wide open for a touchdown. Jason Witten, who was retired last year, is scoring touchdowns. Blake Jarwin, the other tight end, scoring touchdowns. So they, despite drafting Dexter Lawrence and having a nice player in Janoris Jenkins and trading for Jabril Peppers, who I thought was really good in college and I thought might translate really well to the NFL, I don't think really, upon further review, is really that good of a player. Alec Ogletree, a nice middle linebacker, but probably past his prime. Antoine Bethea, way past his prime. They're not that talented of a team. And I do think Pat Shurmur is a decent head coach. I know I just kind of ragged on him for not giving Barkley the ball all that much, but offensive-minded, forward-thinking. I'm really impressed. Like last year, I saw him go for 2 in certain spots where people are like, why is he going for 2? And he knows the math. He knows the math on that, and I like that. I like when people pay attention. Giants fans, just bear with him. I think he's a good coach. I think he'll get you in the right direction, but you got to get rid of all this old stuff. Eli's got to go. Play Daniel Jones, whatever. And maybe because Gettleman's the GM, maybe that's a bad thing. Maybe he just doesn't know how to build a roster. But, like, you're sort of turning in the right direction. You might be held back by your GM. But I think your head coach is smart, knows what's up. Anyway, I'm going to pick the Bills to beat the Giants. I think they got, like I said, really good shot at 2-0. I think they're going to beat the Giants. I'm going to go with, 23-15, because the Bills, with Josh Allen starting, haven't really scored a ton of points, right? They don't really score a lot of points in his wins, other than the Dolphin game in Week 17 last year. They're not really lighting up the scoreboard. So I'm going to say 23-15 Bills, 2-0 heading into the home opener. Can only hope. Can only hope. Anyway, guys, thank you for coming this far in the video. Hit me up on Twitter. Leave me a comment. My Twitter handle is the same as my YouTube username. So enjoy your weekend, and above all else, as always, go Bills.